Dear participants, first of all, we would like to thank you all for your participation at the APS webinar. During the webinar, we will provide you with practical instructions on how to use APS and about the different features within the program. APS is an electronic tool for conducting audits and facilitating the certification process. The objective of APS is to simplify the audit preparation and to make the audits more efficient. Another benefit of APS is that the impact of sustainability certification can be easily quantified through various evaluations. At the moment, you see the starting page of APS, and from here you can open the user manual provided on the ISCC homepage. We highly recommend reading the manual before starting with APS for the first time. Very helpful will be to watch also the APS tutorial. The tutorial can be found on the ISCC website as well as on YouTube. If you don't want to see this page every time when you open APS, please check this box. Then next time when you open APS, you will be directed straight to the first section, CB Data. During the webinar, we will show you two examples. The first one is the system user AgroMill, which is a first gathering point and an oil mill in Hungary. This system user applies both disaggregated and actual values. During this audit, two sub-audits will be conducted. One farm sub-audit and one warehouse sub-audit. The second system user, Green Collect, is a collecting point and a biodiesel plant in Germany. Green Collect applies total default value and one sub-audit point of origin will be required. Please know that there is no Save button in APS. APS saves automatically all the data which has been entered. So APS consists of 7 sections which have to be filled in one by one in order to properly create the audit questionnaire found in section questions. This will guarantee that all the questions which are not relevant for the audit will be suppressed. The audit questionnaire contains all the conformity questions relevant for the audit. In this section, you have to fill in basic information about the certification body. This data must be entered only once, only when you start APS for the first time. From this section, you can either create a new system user or you can import an already existing user for a further processing. In order to start a new audit, please click on Create New System User. Then you are automatically directed to the next section where the basic information about the system user has to be completed. As already explained, we have prepared two system users. So let's go back to the first section, CB Data. Now, in this table, we can find the user which we have just added. Since we won't use this system user as an example, we can delete it with the red X on the right side. Another option is to import an already existing system user for a further processing. After the import, the system user appears also in this table. We will come back to the import function later on in order to show you exactly how this works. Please note that in APS can be handled up to 3 different system users in the same time. If you would like to work on 4th user, you must first export one of the already existing users, save it on your computer, and then delete it from APS. Therefore, you will have the possibility to enter a new system user. If you have deleted, let's say, your first user, but later on, tomorrow, or for example, next year, you would like to check some information, then you have to import the file of this user again in APS. So let's continue with the audit procedure of the first system user. The following section summarizes the basic information about the system user and the type of operation. Please note that the information you have entered here will be shown on the certificate, meaning the address and the scope to be certified. This information is also provided on the ISCC registration form, so it can be entered in APS also in advance. In order to continue further and to generate the master sheet, all the information must be entered, otherwise you won't be able to carry on. We have already completed all the requested information, therefore the master sheet can be created. The master sheet is the starting point for your audit. On the left side, you see the scope to be certified, your main audit. In our case, first gathering point and processing unit. On the right side, you see the name and the address of the certified company. If sub-audits are required, here, the total number of the sub-audits must be indicated, and the sub-audits appear in the table below. In our case, we have two sub-audits, one farm and one warehouse. If you still don't know if sub-audits are required or how many sub-audits are required, you can indicate this information later on, for example, after conducting your main audit. By clicking on the Info button, a symbol legend appears. This symbol shows in the table below for each audit and indicate the completeness of the respective audit. For example, have you already completed all the questions or only the general information? Is an export at this stage possible or not yet? And so on. The green pyramid, together with the green check mark, indicates that we have answered all the questions for the main audit and for the warehouse sub-audit. Since the pyramid by the farm sub-audit is partly red, this means that there is some missing information. Now we will go through the different sections of the main audit in order to further explain the audit procedure. Then we will come back to Mastersheet and show further features within APS. The first section includes the audit-specific questions. These are the so-called descriptive questions, and based upon these, the audit questionnaire will be generated. This section contains questions relevant for both operational units, first gathering point and processing unit. Here, the GHG information have been marked, as we have stated in the beginning, disaggregated default values and actual values. Further information regarding storage facilities, risk level, and chain of custody must be also indicated for properly generating the audit questionnaire. Please note that some information cannot be provided immediately when starting the respective audit. For example, duration of the audit. This question can be answered only after you have finished the audit. The following section contains additional descriptive questions relevant only for the first gathering point. As for instance, number of ISCC compliant farms and information about the sustainable crops. Here we find additional descriptive questions relevant for the processing unit. Based on all these questions, the audit questionnaire will be generated. Please note that all the descriptive questions shall be answered very carefully. As mentioned in the beginning, a step-by-step approach by answering the questions has been implemented, and once the audit questionnaire has been generated in section Questions, it is not recommended to change a descriptive question. Nevertheless, if you change a descriptive question, the audit questionnaire will be newly generated. This means that if you have already completed a part of the audit questionnaire, this data will be deleted and you will have to start the audit questionnaire from the beginning. So let's create the audit questionnaire. Here you find the list of questions to be answered. Above it is shown the total number of questions to be answered and the number of questions which are unanswered. This indicates that we have already answered all of them. On the upper right side, you see the technical review option. The purpose of this feature is to simplify the internal communication between different auditors. This enables additional comments to be written in the text box below findings. If the technical review mode is switched off, the text box will be suppressed. The verification guidance as well as evidence documents for each question are available here. If a question has been marked as non-conform, it will be listed in the non-conformity section. Under the non-conformity section, the corrective measures as well as the date of implementation have to be indicated. Once you have completed the audit, you have to go back to Mastersheet. You can check if you have completed all the questions by clicking on the question mark. If the green pyramid together with the green check mark appears, then you have answered all the questions. The warehouse sub-audit has been also entirely completed. However, we have not yet finished the farm sub-audit. So let's continue with the farm sub-audit. The first section summarizes basic information which has already been filled in. Therefore, we continue to the next section containing the audit-specific data. Here, we have to fill in information regarding the status of the farm, in our case, part of first gathering point. Furthermore, we have to mark if the farm participates in cross-compliance, which will automatically reduce the audit questionnaire. So, in this section, we have also provided all the necessary information and the audit questionnaire can be created. The audit questionnaire for the farm sub-audit contains only 16 questions. Here you can see the greatest advantage of APS, a reduced audit questionnaire. In the previous section, we have marked that the farm participates in cross-compliance, which automatically reduces the farm questions from 100 to 16. For the purpose of this webinar, we will quickly mark all the questions as conform. Now we can go back to Mastersheet. And from here we can check if we have answered all the questions relevant for the farm sub-audit. Yes, we have. When all the audits, main and sub-audits, have been completed, the export icon appears and indicates that the final audit report can be printed, saved and exported. You can easily send this file per email, either for technical review or to ISCC. In order to print the audit report, please click on the print icon. Then, in order to export the APS file containing the main audit and both sub-audits, please click on the export icon. The exported file will be automatically saved on your desktop. The APS file has been saved on your desktop. Please note that once you are done with the audit, you must send to ISCC both the PDF audit report as well as the exported APS file. In this case, the PDF audit reports will be three: one for the main audit, one for the farm sub-audit, and one for the warehouse sub-audit. Now we would like to show you the second example, a collecting point and biodiesel plant in Germany. In order to switch between different users, we have to go to the first section, CB data. After we have chosen the second system user, we are directed to the next section. Here we find again the basic information about the certified company: address, type of operation, and contact person. Then we continue to master sheet. During the first example, we have explained that the master sheet is the starting point for your audit. On the left side, you see the scope to be certified, your main audit. On the right side, you see the name and the address of the certified company. We will go briefly through the different sections of this main audit, and then we will come back to master sheet and we'll continue with the sub-audit. The first section includes, as already explained, the audit-specific questions. This section contains questions relevant for both operational units, in our case, collecting point and processing unit. The following section contains additional descriptive questions relevant only for the collecting point. Here we have to specify what is the category of the point of origin. In our case, it is a restaurant. Furthermore, we have to indicate the total number of the ISCC compliant points of origin, the risk level, as well as information about the incoming and outgoing sustainable materials. In the next section, we find again additional descriptive questions relevant only for the processing unit. Here we must specify the type of processing unit, biodiesel plant, as well as further information about the GHG option and the materials received and delivered as sustainable. Based on all the descriptive questions, the audit questionnaire has been generated. Here we find the list of questions to be verified. The verification guidance as well as the evidence documents for each question are available here. For the purpose of this webinar, we have already answered all the questions. If a question has been marked as non-conform, it will be listed in non-conformity list. In this case, we don't have any non-conformity questions. So let's go back to master sheet. After we have completed the main audit and based on the risk level, we find out that we have to conduct one point of origin sub-audit. For this sub-audit, we will enter only some basic information, because in this case, the point of origin sub-audit will be conducted by another auditor. So let's indicate the name and the address of the sub-audit. Now we go back to Mastersheet in order to show you the export-import function. Another very practical feature within APS is to state if further auditors are required for the sub-audits. If this is the case, you have the option to export and import individual sub-audits and send them per email. Please note that if you are the auditor of the main audit and would like another auditor to conduct the sub-audit, you must export the whole package, meaning the main and the sub-audit, and send this file to the other auditor. From here, we have exported the whole package and have sent the APS file to the auditor conducting the sub-audit. The APS file has been saved on your desktop. On the other hand, let's say that you are now the auditor who has to conduct the sub-audit. Once you have received the whole package, you have to import this file from the first section, CB data. From here, import an already completed main audit, including sub-audits for further processing. Once imported, the system user appears in this table. When you click on it, you are directed to the next section, System User. And from here, you go straight to Master Sheet, because this data has already been imported. From the master sheet, you can start with the respective sub-audit. First section includes, as already explained, the audit-specific questions. Here, we have to complete the requested information in order to continue further and to be able to generate the audit questionnaire. Please note that some questions, for example, duration of the audit, cannot be filled in until the end of the audit. Therefore, we have to leave this box empty. Then we continue with the following information, as for example, what GAG option is used for the outgoing sustainable material and the risk level. Once the audit-specific questions have been answered, we continue to the next section. The following section contains additional descriptive questions relevant for the point of origin. Here we have to specify what is the category of the point of origin and further information on the outgoing sustainable material. After completing the descriptive questions, the audit questionnaire can be generated. The audit questionnaire contains 10 questions, which have to be verified. For the purpose of the webinar, we will quickly mark all the questions as conform. When you have completed the sub-audit, you have to export the file and send it to the auditor conducting the main audit. Therefore, we should go back to master sheet. Before exporting the sub-audit, we have to check if all the questions have been answered by clicking on the question mark. No, we still have to indicate the duration of the audit. Now, let's go back to master sheet and check if all the questions have been answered. Yes, they have. Now we can export the sub-audit. Please note that you have to export only the sub-audit, not the whole package. In order to export the individual sub-audit, please click on the export icon. The sub-audit has been saved on your desktop. When the auditor conducting the main audit receives the exported sub-audit, he or she must import it from here in order to see the information entered. After all the information has been entered and verified, the final report can be printed, saved as PDF file and exported from here. Please note that once you are done with the audit, you must send to ISCC both the PDF audit report as well as the exported APS file. As you are all aware, the updated GHG emission calculation methodology has to be fully implemented by 1st of September. The implementation date for the mandatory application of the summary audit report will also be postponed to September 1st. Therefore, ISCC will release an updated version of APS, including the new GHG requirements as well as the summary audit report prior to September 1st. Together with the updated version of APS, we will provide you also with a free version of APS for Mac. During this webinar, we have demonstrated that APS is indeed a very elegant and intelligent way of conducting audits. APS contributes to a better and more competent audit performance. By knowing the different features within APS, we believe that you will all enjoy using the program. APS is a program that has been continuously improved and adapted according to your feedbacks. Therefore, we are happy to receive any comments and questions you might have. To do so, please contact the APS help desk either per phone or per email.